Hey everyone, and you are tuning into the first installment of my music vlog. I'm sure you have heard the King is back. This week was release of Michael Jackson's new album called Xscape. I know what you guys are thinking. Like, Michael Jackson died like forever ago, so why would they now suddenly decide to release an album? Well, it turns out that and I'm acting like I know. New album, Xscape, is basically a composition of all different kinds of tracks that he had and never finished. The record companies thought it was best to basically put it all together into an album. Which, when you think about it, is kind of like a parting gift to the fans, because those that, are really Michael Jackson lovers like myself, it's kind of like their way of saying goodbye. And this album definitely does that. It gives you a little bit of something to kind of say goodbye to Michael with, and always remember him as the great musician that he was. So let's get started with our love list. I loved Love Never Felt So Good, the very first track on the album. I thought that was a great way to kind of start the album and start the mood and the vibe of the album. I felt like you could really kind of get a sense that you were listening to something special. Very catchy, and it has just, a really awesome tune. You can just tell the potential that it really has. It, however, did lack in musicality, but then that's because this is kind of raw footage that we're listening to, so you can really kind of get the idea of where Michael was going with this track. Also, another track that was on the love list is A Place with No Name. I love the acoustic sound of it. It really just starts off with an awesome guitar introduction, which really kind of puts you in the mood of this is going to be something really good. Also thought that this was quite different for Michael, given that he is the king of pop, and his music is usually very up-tempo, and this one was kind of really stripped down. And it was really nice to hear Michael kind of in his true element. Another track that I loved, Blue Gangster. I think out of the whole album, this one was probably my favorite, just because it had that thing that we all love Michael to have, and it had just all this energy and musicality, and it was just a true song that you knew Michael would have released himself. It almost sounded like a very completed track. And I loved every second of this song. I just thought it was such a great song. It makes you want to get up and dance and have a good time. So I could definitely say that one was probably my favorite on the album. Last track that I put on my love list was Xscape, the main song on the album, entitled Xscape. Really gives you a sense of what the album is about, and Xscape is just basically all that it is everything that Michael does. In the introduction, you get an awesome storyline looking for him, and they can't find where he is, and he's on the run. I mean, you get that right in the first few seconds, which is incredible, because that's all Michael does. Michael is about story, and is about a storyline, and about a plot in specific. So yeah, it has a really good breakdown in the song. And the breakdown in the song is actually where you can kind of see Michael dance. It's weird, because you almost think that this album would be a visual album, but it gives you that vibe of what you could see. Using your imagination and knowing what Michael does best, kind of really put yourself in imagining what Michael would have done. Now on to our not so good list, the skip list. And the reason why I call it the skip list is not that, you should definitely skip this track. that it was a terrible track. It wasn't that. One, it has to do with personal opinion. I just feel like certain songs should just really grab you in the first few seconds, and when it lacks like that, it's definitely something that I would be skipping if I was listening to it in the car. So that is where this skip list, you know, kind of came to be. All right. First one on the skip list for me was All I Need. I felt like it was pretty dramatic in terms of, you know, the song itself. Let me first start by saying that I cannot say that Michael is a bad musician whatsoever, that he had any bad tracks, because he really did not have any bad tracks. But there are tracks that I really just didn't care for, from one musician to another. And so that's just a personal opinion on this. So don't get upset. Whoa there. Whoa there. Calm down. It's a really, really dramatic track. What I mean by dramatic is that just in the first few seconds when you hear him singing, he just sounds so... It almost sounds depressing, but it's a love song, and it's just too much. And it's super cliche, because I feel like I've heard this track before, and that's probably the main reason why I would put it on my skip list. Another song that I really didn't care about is I Have a Dream. I just didn't care for it. It's an inspirational song. You know, Michael is famous for one of those inspirational songs that he does, and I just feel like this was definitely another one of them. But even in the past, I wasn't a big fan of his inspirational stuff, so this was another one that I just didn't care about. Another one that's on the skip list is She Was Loving Me. I thought this was probably the weirdest track on the album, just because when you listen to it, it almost sounds like a foreign person is singing it. What I mean by foreign is just means that somebody who has a really thick dialect or accent. It didn't sound like Michael whatsoever. So I would probably skip that track. So I just didn't care for it. It didn't sound like him, so it just, yeah. And lastly, what I put on my skip list was I Was the Loser. First of all, very interesting title, I Was the Loser. And you hear that automatically and you're thinking, why would you put that on the skip list? It's an awesome title for a song. I know. Trust me, I know. That's the first one that I clicked on to listen to when I saw it, because the name itself is really intriguing, makes you want to know what the song is about, how it sounds. And when I did click on it, one, I thought it was a weird concept of how they worded it, and the title of the song and the lyrics in the song just didn't mix. So I felt like they were just putting that in there just to say that was the name of the song. So it could have been probably like a track that really wasn't finished, but yet they're trying to mix something together that really probably should have just been left as is. And that is my music review. You can love it or you can hate it. It is what it is. But you know, my job is just simply to let you know what I think you should be listening to and what I think you shouldn't be listening to. And I give you reasons so you can choose. The choice is yours. Yay or nay. So I hope you enjoyed this music vlog. Stay tuned for next Tuesday on the next music review, and you guys have a good day.